Hello, I'm Millie, the maker behind Ode to Paper Studio. I'm an artist who makes books, notebooks, sketchbooks, journals for writing and painting in. I'm a community-taught bookbinder, learning always from workshops, online tutorials, my own experimentation, and of course, books themselves. I bind pages, blank pages, lined pages, dotted pages, pages to paint and print on, pages to untie and frame. I like to use techniques that let the pages fall open and lay flat easily. When you know, you know. I like to cover my books in fabric sometimes. These I like to choose from the organic cotton section at the fabric shop in town. I back the fabric with a lightweight rice paper using homemade rice starch paste. Making bookcloth is in itself a craft to master, and this opens up so many possibilities for book cover designs. Please do excuse some of the awkward angles in this video taking. I'm still learning the ropes of that craft too. For the gluing process, I like to use old book pages as waste paper. I find it aesthetic, and I like to enjoy my work. I also find that they can hold out better than some of the cheap papers from advertising or copy paper. And I can reuse the same sheets again and again after they dry out. I like to spray my brushes with distilled water before immersing them in glue if it's a dry day out. This will prevent the glue from drying into the brush and makes it easier to clean with cold water afterwards. I began making these journals because in my own artistic practice, I noticed the power of showing up every day, or at least as many days as one could manage, and letting something show up on the page. Making a mark, whether drawn, painted, or written, meant giving form to my feeling at the time. I don't know about you, but I come to understand myself more through recognizing my feelings, patterns, behaviors. But for the process to take effect, to move and advance my practice as a human being and maker, artist and creative actor, I need to be able to see it in front of me, in front of my eyes, touching at least some of my senses. I need to experience it outside of myself as a happening, rather than a well-elaborated thought stuck in my mind. Perhaps this is a long-winded way of saying we need to be making these small steps every day in our creative practice if we wish to see any progress. We know this. We've heard it all before. Giving oneself just 15 minutes to play in one's journal, taking the process day by day, letting things build up slowly on a steady course towards what we are meant to be. Honestly, I feel somewhat ashamed to be sitting here and talking to you about how good it is to keep up a regular creative practice when I myself haven't been reflecting much recently. My morning page habit has disintegrated into a whenever I happen to feel it's a convenient time for an emotional ego rant for 30-odd lines. And my daily portrait practice dwindled in mid-February as well. I still do some sketching and play painting sometimes. Sometimes, but still only sometimes. Yet I've heard the podcasts and seen the spiritual self-guidance content on YouTube. I know it's normal to change. My process will adapt. My practice will look different from season to season. So how do I get there? To that place I long to be so much. To that subtle state of balance, of showing up and taking time, being patient with oneself. Committing to leading oneself forward with an open heart, open hands. Being the book which falls open and deserves to be lovingly filled with markings of motion. I remind myself. Let oneself sit in the presence of where one is. and be still in that space for a moment. Breathe slowly and recenter. Return and release. Release and return. Await to begin again. Await to relearn. Await to be ever discovering the ways to self-express. We are, after all, nature expressing itself. To be honest, I'm quite tired of this notion I have that one day I'll be doing it right or better or whatever. I remind myself, now is what matters. This day, this hour, this moment. I'm learning for myself the keys to work through struggles without relying on coping mechanisms, resisting the painful emotions, blocking my natural capability to process. Instead, investing in my mind, body, and spirit by eating and moving well, waking up fit and excited for the day's tasks, challenges, and opportunities. As with most things, there is irony to be found in the fact that through this cloudy time, there have come great revelations to me. I began over the last months to invite new streams of income and manifest prosperity for my small business venture. And since then, it seems like I've been pretty much turning down opportunities left and right and pulling out of sales channels. But ultimately, it feels like the right thing to do, to focus on the channels that bring me bountiful returns and excitement for future prospects. I remind myself, I have not cut myself off. I am clearing space for what is destined for me, and opening other windows of chance and opportunity, returning back to the joy of what I do. So for me, it's a season of letting go, of learning that letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing the paths that are right for me, even if right looks like scarcity for now. I remind myself, it's not emptiness, it's clarity. It's okay to be vulnerable, better than being unsure and unclear, struggling ahead into chaos and confusion, trying to manage everything at once. Around the time I unintentionally stopped making my daily portrait practice, I intentionally stopped posting regularly on Instagram in favor of making long-form content on YouTube. I set myself the goal of posting a vlog once a month. I was and still am excited for this kind of format, of working slowly, deeply, and intentionally. Still, I struggle with keeping up with this new rhythm. The end of the month always comes way too soon, and I have often felt that I don't have enough footage or interesting things to talk about in the vlog. But luckily, and with the help of mindful practice, I can recognize these thoughts as simply fears, anxieties, mental blocks. Because when I sit back and look into my media archive at what I have managed to produce over these last months, I can actually find valuable material to make use of. This footage you're viewing now is of a custom order book that I made back in the beginning of March. At the time, I didn't wish to post it in case the client saw something of the book before receiving it themselves. But that resulted in me having some great material to work with months later. I'm so grateful for myself for taking the time then to capture this process, and to the sun for shining so brilliantly on that day. Now that I've edited the footage, I can tell which camera angles I like and which ones I would leave out next time. Because I made that step months ago, I had something to work on now, in this time when I'm not producing so much. I have shown to myself that I can do something worthwhile, even if I didn't do it consciously at the time. Maybe that was the trick, to simply do without thinking about it too much. Having faith that it will all be worthwhile in the end, even if it only teaches me what I don't want to invest my energy in. I think the key for us to remember is that it doesn't really matter what we do in the moment. It definitely doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a small step. What matters is how we do it, without pressure to achieve, rather with the intention to enjoy. In this way, we let space to show ourselves that we are actually capable of great things. Often it does come in hindsight. In the same way, we don't climb mountains in one day. We take time to prepare, to gather what we need for the journey, to first arrive at the foothills and then to slowly make our way up through forests and across streams. If and when we eventually reach the top, the peak, the destination, is the view ever really how we expected? Or is the satisfaction found in acknowledging that we made it, somehow, despite all the obstacles? I hope what I'm trying to say makes some sort of sense. I hope that you are also learning to give grace to yourself in this season of your lives. If nothing else, I hope this video is nice to watch and perhaps inspire something within you along the way. Thank you for being here. It means everything to me. Here you can see that I actually changed my mind about the book corners in the end. I found the first ones that I had chosen were a bit bulky, and these thinner ones suited the style of the book just slightly better. I remind myself, it's important to let space to change my mind. Trust my intuition, my gut feeling. Let space to observe, reflect, and perhaps take a different direction. It can be the difference between simply finishing a project and being proud of what you have created. Ultimately, it's your creation. a product of your self-expression, your own intention. You are the walker, navigating your own path ahead. Have fun out there.